or do you move to GitHub Actions now?
Currently, I'm going through the GitHub Actions video and trying to do the practical. Not start yet. Today, I will start.
Okay. So how did you find the session?
Yeah, it was good. I think some more practical would have been better. It was too much theory, I think, the starting.
No, I think Avinash showed the practical demo as well. So
yes,
as long as you can at least replicate it first, that should give you a good start.
Yeah, sure.
And then I think there are 2 assignments in there to proceed with it.
Okay.
All right. So, but for anybody who has not really understood the concept of CI/CD yet, so because we completed Jenkins, Artifactory, now GitHub Actions. So our CI/CD curriculum, we have almost covered it now. But do you have any questions on if there's any problem in understanding the concepts of CI/CD?
CACD is fine. I mean, it's understood.
Okay. How about others? How about Meher, Madhvi?
Yeah, actually,
Yes,
it is taking more time for me to understand the things. So since my background is slightly different, so I'm putting that extra effort from my side. So, but I feel that it will take more time for me to understand all the things in detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the one-to-one there. So based on that, it would take a bit of time because you are coming from an entirely different stream altogether. So you probably should give at least 6 months minimum before you can actually start actively applying, or you can still do it, but would be very junior and entry-level roles, but it would take a bit of time.
Yeah, right. I completely understand that. So I am putting that extra effort from my side, trying to learn everything in detail. Like if I have something specific in queries, I'll try to post it once I reach a level at least, which I can ask the questions. And then I will start posting the questions in the Slack channel.
Today we got a very good news that one of our students, Ori, he got selected at Redis. I think Ori, I think is in UK or some European country.
Yeah. So he was very active. That was one of the things. You will see him asking a lot of questions in the chat, and usually very active in doing projects. And so we'll probably have a discussion with him over the weekend session and see what really worked for him, how long he had to look for such how many interviews he had to go through and all sort of thing. We'll probably have a discussion with him.
Yeah, it's always great to find when people get selected. Yeah, Ori is in Israel. So yeah, I had one some time back.
Let's start with some questions or any sort of information you guys need, even if you have some demo or whatever. It's an open floor. We can talk about it. Maybe we use the same process, raising hand, or and that way we can kickstart. This is the first time, so we will just probably go through such conversations, and over a period of time, we will translate this into a project building session. So while the weekend session will be more focused on the learnings, new concepts, whether it's Azure, AWS, any sort of demos and those sort of things. But the Wednesday session, we will, after some time, will translate into a project building session.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So in a scenario when a company wants to move away from Jenkins to a GitHub or other pipelines, is there any particular steps they have to take? What are the recommendations or best practices like that?
So usually these are sort of projects we get at enterprise. Like even when I was at a service company in past, we used to get a lot of such projects. People are moving from a specific SVN version to migrating to Git, or on-prem Git installation to SaaS-based GitHub repositories. So a lot of things, they would define the requirements. Do they need history? How old historical information they need? Same goes with pipelines and all. Some of these tools or companies have built automation where you can easily convert your Jenkins files to some other platform. Nowadays, a lot of AI tools are also there. So you can, because CI/CD is like per app. So every app developers can easily migrate to say a Jenkins file to GitLab, YAML, or GitHub Action. So usually it's treated as a independent sort of project. And based on that, different stages are defined. Mostly it is making sure that the Git repository is accessible over there. Whatever webhooks are needed, whatever your framework of branching and merging strategies you want to build, those are in place, and then you build CI/CD on top of it. That's how I have seen companies migrating from one CI to another CI/CD.
Okay, thank you.
But yes, it has to be treated like a independent sort of project because there are a lot of changes involved, how secrets are managed in say Jenkins, and how you would do secret management in your new CI/CD platform. So it's a decent amount of effort, and companies will usually treat it as a independent new project kind of thing.
Okay, got it.
And plus, there's no single translation where you can just input everything from Jenkins and then you get all the YAML outputs for GitHub Actions jobs. So you have to translate the jobs one by one.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Yes, Saurabh.
No.
After installing Jenkins in the security groups, I gave access only to my IP address. But when I tried to access it, meaning it didn't work actually. So again, I had to make it as I allow all the traffic. And then I was able to access the Jenkins UI.
Yeah. So if you are giving your IP address, you have to make sure that it's exactly the same IP address that is reflected across. Sometimes the IP address that you see on your computer and the IP address that is registered outside the network, they are both different.
How did you get your IP?
I selected from the drop down.
No. How did you get your personal computer's IP?
Sorry.
You said you
I got
selected.
yes, my IP, it was displayed in the drop down list, my IP address.
Okay. All right. So
Yes.
it depends on if your computer has got some firewall or some proxy servers, then the IP that it shows on your computer is different than the IP that is reflected across. So if you just Google for what is my IP, just check if it's the same as what Google sees and your IP is, then it should work.
Okay. And when I used, this is another question. When I used trying instance connect, EC2 instance connect, actually it gives me some, for the use EC2 instance connect, it gives me some IP address range, right? So I tried giving that IP address in the security group. Even that didn't work.
I think limiting to a very small range or a specific IP is usually not a good practice, because you want to practice Jenkins, CI/CD, building applications, and you get into security group issues. These will slow down you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So that's why I just moved on.
So there are
Meaning I just want to know. Yeah, sorry.
You go ahead.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say was there are project objectives. So let's try to stick to that one, because that's what you want to learn at that point in time. And then later on, you will have different project objectives for networking or connecting through on-prem or something. So for example, in project 3, we did connecting to a private instances through your own laptop, like it would be a private instance in your subnet, and you using a VPN tunnel, you will be able to connect to that instance. You wouldn't have a public IP address associated. So different projects, I would say, have different. So be a little relaxed, like give bigger range when you are practicing Jenkins and CI/CD.
Yeah. Yes. So that's why now I give all the traffic so that I don't get stuck there.
Yeah.
And what is the difference between EC2 Connect and EC2 Connect endpoint?
So actively, what I have seen companies using is the SSM option. EC2 Connect is a new way of connecting to the instances using private subnets, or like you want to connect from a private VPC and then you want to connect to your instances. These are not public instances. So SSM is one of the option that I have seen a lot of companies using. That is something we will mainly focus on. But this EC2 Connect is very AWS specific implementation.
Okay.
So
the EC2 Instance Connect that you see on AWS, it only works with Amazon Linux. It doesn't really work with RHEL or Ubuntu. If you're using Amazon Linux, then Amazon has placed. So when they start the instance, they already have that connectivity where you can use the browser to connect. Otherwise, you can use your SSH key and probably use a terminal on your machine.
Okay. Thank you.
I think when we are learning AWS and Azure, then we'll go into the depth of it. At the moment we started up with and why I wanted to use EC2 specifically was so that everybody has got a streamlined experience of how do we install all the different like Jenkins Artifactory in it. Otherwise, if I just show it on my Mac and somebody else has got a Windows computer, they will not know. So using cloud VMs is a good way to so that everybody gets the same experience.
Okay. Thank you, Saurabh.
All right. Anybody else?
Also, should I know anything about this CIDR, the classless?
Yeah. So when we are going through clouds, the bootcamp. So we'll go through AWS bootcamp. We'll go through Azure. So we'll discuss a lot. Everything is covered in it. Even the past sessions, if you see, so that we have the AWS recordings in there. So if you go into the EC2 and the networking part, so you'll get everything in detail there. So if you have time, you can go through those recordings. So that's in the link in the document that I've shared.
Yes, I have seen the thing. Thank you.
All right. So Mohammed, any questions? Both of you?
Yes. I had one question which I was facing previously. The problem was I was trying to test, not actually test, but working with a Docker within my pipeline script. So every time I build a project or I start starting the Jenkins file to build, I'm getting issues like it keeps on saying my Docker, there isn't any like Docker file or Docker directory within my entire job. So I wasn't sure why. So I tried to check and see if I can get anything from Stack Overflow, but I haven't like received any actual issue. So the thing was I used the plugins within Jenkins to connect those two, but I wasn't sure how to eventually come to a solution.
Are you trying to install Jenkins and Docker?
Not really. I have Jenkins already. So in the pipeline, in the Jenkins pipeline script, I was trying to create a Docker image.
Oh,
so
okay.
instead of using JFrog, then I was just trying to test it with Docker. Yeah, so I wasn't sure how I'm getting.
So you need to have Docker running as in your agent. So wherever you are running the agent, so whichever machine it is, so you need to have Docker installed on it, so that it's able to execute the Docker commands. Also, if you have the Docker installed, there should be appropriate permissions through which whatever job that you're running and whatever user that is running the job, that user should have permission to execute Docker.
Okay. So should I like install a client or something? Because I have Docker Compose in my computer.
Okay, send your whatever message that you're getting, send it on Slack, and I'll have a look.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Ali, you had a question?
Yes, Saurav.
Yeah.
Actually, I have been struggling to install the Artifactory, JFrog Artifactory in my EC2. Basically, I have installed Jenkins. When I installed Jenkins, basically, I even in the Jenkins, I was not able to install the Artifactory. When I installed the Docker separately after that, I made a separate instance for the Docker, and I made the image as well. Again, on that as well, I am not able to connect through the Artifactory from the provided IP that I have. Can I share my screen?
You can share your screen, yeah. But maybe this is not really a debugging session. So send your message on Slack. I can try to answer on
Okay.
that. So in the technical questions channel.
Yeah, technically these are reachable
Yeah.
on reachable networks. These Artifactory and Jenkins.
Because you're installing it both on the same machine, right?
Same machine, yes.
Yeah. So even if it is different machine, if they're in the same security group, that should work. But if you have a look at the demo that I did, so I did it on the same machine, and they are reachable. You can
Exactly, it worked for you, but it was not working with me. But
Yeah.
anyway, I will message you on Slack.
have a look at the demo. So I think there are only a couple of steps in installing them, and it's pretty seamless. So have a look at the demo that I have done. Even the slides contain the exact statements which you need to run to install Artifactory. So it's pretty seamless.
I will run through again. Okay.
Yeah. And what EC2, is it a RHEL machine that you're installing?
No, I'm using Ubuntu. Basically, I was not able to do it. I was not even able to install the Jenkins on RHEL.
Why?
That is why I had to move to. It was not connecting on
No,
the.
I showed it. Yeah, my demo was on the RHEL, so should work.
You're right, but the thing is, I was stuck at the first step. That is why I had to move to the Ubuntu.
All right. I would suggest that have a look at the slides and the demo. So it's all step by step. So you should be able to reflect it. Same.
All right.
Okay. All right. Anybody else has got any questions?
Sumit, Rajesh. Yes.
How about Rajni? Rajni, you got any questions? I think Rajni.
Yeah, I am
Rajni,
also.
Yeah, Rajni is from Canberra, isn't it, Rajni?
Sorry, I am in Perth.
You're in Perth. Okay. Right.
Yes. So I'm also struggling to install Artifactory on my EC2 instance. So trying to get the license, and I couldn't get it, and it's throwing some errors on the website itself, on the JFrog website itself, and I'm trying to figure it out.
Did you get the license key when you installed?
No, it didn't prompt for the license when I'm trying to install.
It didn't prompt you for the license. Normally, it's the first step. It asks you for the license. When you
Yeah, after you enter, we change our password. It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't ask for our license. And what type of instance is recommended to install the Artifactory?
Well, you can install it in any Linux instance that JFrog supports. I think it supports Ubuntu, RHEL. I did the demo on Red Hat Linux.
Okay. Is there any storage recommendations?
Well, I did it on Red Hat. So maybe if you're struggling, try out the same thing that I did in the demo.
I think
Okay,
a basic instance should work, at least for the proof of concepts. But at an organization level, you will understand how many projects are going to consume it, what sort of release frequency they have, artifact size. So you will do a bit of capacity planning in an organization. But over here, it would be a simple T3 medium or T3 small, or even T2 medium might work.
Okay, I'm trying on T2X large because based on the videos I have seen, like it is recommended that one, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it should definitely work on any extra large instance.
Okay, yep. All good, thank you.
Sir, I have created one document on how to get license. So if anybody wants, I will send.
Can you be on camera? We can't. Is it Sumit?
Yes, my internet is pretty slow, so it's not video is not loading, sir.
Okay. So what are you saying?
So I have created one document on how to get license, JFrog license. So if
Okay.
anybody wants, I will send.
Sure. Do send it in the Slack or WhatsApp. WhatsApp is open for everyone, so you guys can send it. Anything related to proof of concept of that specific week that you are working on, feel free to send it.
One more question. In Jenkins, there are so many things to do. So I'm learning from scratch from YouTube, but I'm not understanding how much how much should I learn? There are so many things. So freestyle projects, then pipeline. So right now I'm creating some small freestyle projects and understanding the uh, build trigger part. And
I think
there are so many.
3 or 4 things you have to understand. Freestyle jobs is one thing. Then you have some scripted pipelines, a multi-branch which was demonstrated multi-branch pipeline, and a way to manage secrets. So these are some of the key concepts that you definitely have to learn. I wouldn't suggest going too deep into a lot of plugins and expanding into Jenkins knowledge. Once you are done with these, move quickly to GitHub Actions or GitLab. And then you will start to realize a lot of benefits these tools bring and how easy it is. Like all that setup related things, that issues that we get into, all those will be gone away. So a lot of startups and companies moving to these tools for that reason. You don't have to manage agents and the CI server and all that. So you should pick Jenkins from that you can cover that, because you can't say that I don't know the Jenkins or that thing. Some companies may be using it, but move quickly to slightly advanced.
Okay, sir.
So don't go too deep into understanding all sort of plugins in Jenkins. There are thousands of plugins available. You will, depending upon the situation, if you eventually find an employer which is using Jenkins, then you will master it. Not right now.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Sanjeev. Sorry, I'm in a private location. I just tried to build my private lab, and so far it's going good. With regards to any question, I will post on the technical chat. I just have one question with regards to recently GitHub Copilot has been launched. So how much a DevOps engineer can be benefit from this? It's like, can we create a YAML or any other programming on, or can we get access from this program, and how much we can get benefit from this GitHub Copilot? And also, it is a free. I'm just checking. Maybe
It's not free.
just need a not free. Okay. So, how much benefit can be, DevOps engineer can be get it? YAML, program can be created on here, or
YAML, not only YAML, not only DevOps engineers, every software stream will get benefit from this. It's just another AI. So right now, what you must be doing on ChatGPT, ChatGPT is slightly generic in nature. You can build documents and a lot of other things. Copilot is pretty much trained for coding related tasks. So based on the vast repositories it has access to. So a lot of things, like we use it on daily basis. You just put the prompt. I need an Ansible for this thing. I need Terraform for this situation. Whatever be your task in hand, it's very useful. So productivity has gone up. In some scenarios, it gives you very like wrong code. Also, it will give you something really not fruitful or not worthy. So that risk is always there. So you have to be smart enough what you have to pick up and how you have to create your prompt, making sure that you give all the required information, that that I'm using a Terraform version this, I'm using an Ansible version this, or a Kubernetes version this, because things change across versions. And sometimes these AIs are not very equipped with all that information. So be ready for a roller coaster ride. Sometimes it works out of the box. Sometimes it gives you such a magical code that you would probably have spent a week doing that. Sometimes it gives you very shitty code, then you have to work through it and debug and all sort of thing, and that's how it's going to be.
Thank you for giving me pros and cons of this. Thank you. Yeah, I will check. And you can see there's a if you ask any assistant, they will give you a couple of options.
Right.
So you can run that code and then see what is working, what is not working. But yeah, it's a good point. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Actually, I have a question for my project. I am working on an IoT project in which I am using EC2 instances to run my backend server. I have attached that backend servers with auto scaling group and load balancers. So, sir, actually, I am a bit confused of whether I should use this technique of using load balancing and auto scaling group, or should I use Kubernetes for the same process? So I am a bit
It all
confused in
depends.
between.
It depends what your requirements are, what sort of scalability requirements you have. An EC2 instance will take a bit of time to scale. An auto scaling group will have its own. The instance uptime, there are requirements around it. So how frequently do you scale up, scale down? Do you have the
So actually, I'm working on
backend
IoT project. Yes, sir.
your backend
Actually, the backend server.
microservices or not? You have to see that.
Okay, sir.
So are you using Docker?
Yes, sir. Actually, for running the backend server on the EC2 instance, we are using Docker. But actually, I'm a bit confused to use Kubernetes or this auto scaling, which will be better.
I think when it comes to Docker, it's always advisable to use Kubernetes because first of all, it's a very good orchestration tool. It will take care of all those responsibilities away from you. So scaling up the pods and then redirecting traffic to the correct pod. Also session handling. So if something happens in between and the pod crashes, it automatically takes care of all the traffic. And I think if you are using Docker and all the microservices, yeah, Kubernetes is always a better option. But if let's say you have got an application which is just running on EC2 and you're not using any Docker containers, then probably you can go for auto scaling groups and use the EC2 scaling and load balancing.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one more question.
Yep.
Actually, we have developed a prototype on the AWS platform, but maybe client have one problem that maybe we have to shift it to on-premise system. Like the services like auto scaling and load balancing may not be that much helpful for now, because on-premise services may we not be able to get that managed services. So can you suggest me some services softwares which I can use on premise,
So
which can replace this?
Why can't you install Kubernetes on premises?
So actually this installation part is a bit a bit it's based on customers requirement. Actually we are developing something which is which will be deployed on the customer server. So we didn't have a clear vision which software we will be using. Like I researched a bit, like Nginx also provide this reverse proxy type thing, just like load balancing. But actually I don't have a clear idea. But Kubernetes, I think it's a new technology. Maybe they will not support that thing. So that's why I'm asking. Is there any other options available which support this auto scaling thing, just like Kubernetes?
Well, when it comes to microservices and Docker, Kubernetes is probably the only option. You can have other instead of Kubernetes. If you can use Docker Swarm and all that stuff, but I think Kubernetes is always easy to manage than Docker Swarm. Plus, we'll have to look at the constraints that you have. If you can have another server installed, you can install Kubernetes on that, and then you can work with that. You can have different sort of master and the worker nodes.
You can also look at AWS EKS Anywhere. There was a service for on-premise EKS Anywhere or something. Have you looked at that option?
No, so actually, for Kubernetes, I have only looked for EKS, but EKS is totally managed service provided by AWS.
Like they have a on-premise managed service also, like EKS Anywhere or something.
I know in GCP there's something called as Anthos, where you can run your master in GCP and your slaves can be your on-prem. So there are multiple options that we can look at, but it all depends on what are the different constraints. So if you can't install Kubernetes on your client's machine,
look at this one. Amazon EKS Anywhere. Create and operate Kubernetes cluster on your own infrastructure. I never used it, but that's what they suggest for their or running it on premise and more of like competitor to OpenShift. You can explore this.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. This is all from my side. Thank you, sir.
No worries. All right. Anybody have demonstrating this weekend, Saturday, the GitHub action related project or any other ideas you have?
I think this Saturday we will start with a demo on GitHub Actions. I think Sumit Jeswani had a demo. So we'll start off with that and then we'll continue with Docker this time.
I think it's better we announce it in the group also so that people can have questions.
Yeah.
What we want trying to do is to have a lot of distracted questions like away in that session so that we focused on a specific topic, and any such things we can discuss in this week midweek session. And then over a period of time, we will translate into a working session where we will start looking at projects.
Saurabh, I have actually I don't have a question, but I have a suggestion. While explaining the topic, could you please give us a real-time scenario so that it will be helpful for preparing for the interviews?
When you say real-time scenario, what do you exactly mean?
Say when
Do you mean that where this technology can be used?
Yes, like
okay, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, and your personal experience, you have faced issues, anything like so that it will be helpful for us.
Of course. All right, so I'll keep that in mind. So because me and Sanjeev were discussing the other day that it's important to tell as to why we are using this technology as well. Yeah, rather than getting directly into a technology that this is something that you use, it's important to understand why.
What was the question? Sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah, my question is like, while discussing the topic, could you please tell us any real-time scenarios?
Of course, yes. Yes.
So that it will be helpful for preparing for the interview.
Got it. Yes. Those are the most important things, like why certain things are being done, what are the other options, why even we are doing this sort of thing, and what are the best practices. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, we are actually struggling to apply in practical when we are learning something new. Yep.
You also, when you're learning, try to focus on the why part. How is usually doable? How you will do it? You will install Jenkins, this, but some of the things, why do you even need that? What problem does it solve? Why do you need Docker at all? What problem does it solve? Why we use Kubernetes at all? Why do we have so many Azure related Kubernetes than AWS? Why so many complexities? What problem does it solve? So that should be the main focus, because interviews will focus on this why part more. And then obviously you will have to explain what you did. That part comes later. Concepts have to be focused more.
And the benefit of doing hands-on is that you will come across challenges, and you will be able to explain what are the challenges that you met with and how you resolved it. So everybody will have their own different kind of challenges, which they do while it's while installing it or using it, creating pipelines or running Docker containers. So keep a record of all the challenges that you're getting, because when you're explaining it in an interview, these challenges are the ones that will help you clear it off.
Thank you. And what about the job demand for DevOps engineers in Australia?
I think you see there are two segments that I find, and it's very ironical that some people are getting a lot of calls and some people are not getting any calls at all. So it's divided into two segments. So it's incorrect to say that the market is gloomy and you're not getting calls. Some people, you will find that they're getting so many calls that in a week they will get around 3 or 4 calls consistently. But some people are struggling to get even one single call a month. It all depends on the kind of profile that you have written, the kind of CV that you have built. If you look at one of the videos that I have shared with you guys is how to prepare a good CV in DevOps. If you follow all those techniques, you're bound to get calls. Now, once you get a call, whether it translates into a job or not, that is a different story. But the first thing is whether you're getting a call or not. So a couple of important things in there. Write the CV in a way that I have presented in there. And also be very comfortable. Now, once you have received a call, that will completely depend on what you have put on your CV. And I would assume that once you have presented the CV in the way that I have recommended, you will get the calls. Because the market is not bad. So for people who have a good CV in their hand, they will get calls at various levels. So there are job opportunities with for people with 2 years of experience, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years as well. So there are job opportunities at every level, but whether you get a call or not, that's a separate thing. So, but there are opportunities. So not only in Australia, I think it's the same in India and US, any other country that you see. So we have students who are getting placed left, right, and center. We have students who are struggling to get calls. So, but you have to prepare a very good CV first. Now, once you get a call, the first thing that is very important is that you should know your CV by heart. Each and every line of it that you have written in your CV, you should be able to explain each and every line in your CV in a very justifiable way. And that is why I encourage people to come with their CV, come in the session, present your CV as if you are presenting a project. Let people ask you questions based on your CV. And that is where once you are explaining your CV and what you have done in the project, that becomes a very good practice in whatever you're going to do in the interview. So you're all encouraged to bring your CV. First, prepare the CV in the way that I have asked. Then you bring your CV in the forum. We'll discuss on your CV. We'll ask you questions on your CV. You try to defend your CV, what you have done corresponding to each and every line. And then I think but in some time you will see that you are very, very confident and you would know each and every line item in your CV. So that is where your interview calls start getting translated into jobs.
And sort of by doing all this, right, this entire exercise, what I have seen is I have a robust one single CV for all the jobs. Like I don't have to change it, tweak it for any kind of jobs in that I am applying. And because it's one single, has all the information, and I am aware of everything. I don't have to see like what is in the job description that they are asking. It usually goes straight into their inbox and results into calls. And you don't have to read it again.
Absolutely. So
people are asking me like templates and all that sort of thing.
you don't need to change your CV for each and every job. You have to your CV, once you design it the way that I have recommended, you will never have to change your CV. So in my life, I've been working for around 22 years now. I've never changed my CV for any specific job. So your CV becomes such a well-rounded, and it covers all these tech stacks in such a way, all the projects in such a way that you will not have to change it.
The template part, the structure,
the template part and the structure.
skills and things, obviously you keep adding more skills, more projects, companies, you keep adding them in a specific order, and that activity should keep on happening. You should be owning your entire resume. You can't leave it entirely to AI that generate me this thing. So you can take help from AI to refine some of the things, but you should own the resume so that you can drive your discussions based on that.
And you should know each and every line of your resume by heart and what it means.
Yeah.
So if anybody asks you what have you done as a part of this that you have written, you should be able to justify it.
What I heard from the UK market, the recruiter basically, they are just putting some kind of AL. They are asking some kind of AL support. They're putting the CVs to the AL and they try to generate. So is this happening or are you guys aware of this, that they are just putting the CVs on there and they can, on the basis AL get generate, or this is candidate has this much capabilities on this requirement? Is this something happening, or because the thing is the person is mostly built with the AI CV. That CV also rejected because this thinking is like a custom, is like a just the candidate has not a real capability, it's just put from the AI, and then he presented the CV to us. That's something going on in the market, so I'm not sure. So I heard this way, just want to throw you this question over here, if you can give any suggestions.
Again, I don't have any specific experience. It's like we're not sure how recruiters and working. Not every company has access to a fancy AI. They will, pass every resume through an AI and then evaluate based on that. It's very difficult. So usually you should consider that it's still being analyzed by a person, and the language should be person specific. It shouldn't be an AI language. AI language is very easy to detect even by a human, that how AI writes and how an individual would write. The individual will be very humble in nature, that I did this project, I led this, but AI will add a lot of adjectives and make it very dramatic in nature. You try it yourself. It will make it look very larger than life, that you were the only person doing that project. But when you're writing as an individual, you will say, I did these specific things in this. So write it by yourself. Take help from AI to have some right words or language or a better grammar or something like that, but not to, add a lot of adjectives based on AI.
Yeah, thank you.
And that will be then, whether it's human reading it or an AI reading it, doesn't matter. Have the right keywords, what you think is based on some of, like there was a long video that sort of did, so we follow that, how those keywords are fetched and how those same resume is applicable to hundreds of job descriptions. So
yeah, so I have one question regarding the resume. So let's say personally I don't have any experience in DevOps or cloud, and I might want to apply for those roles once I'm done with my learning. What should I put in my CV to show these people that I'm capable and I'm able to work with DevOps tools and the cloud that they're looking for.
You mean to say you don't have industry experience, but you want to, what should you put in your resume?
Yeah, I'm coming from mobile side of development, but I think I'm transitioning now to automation in either DevOps or cloud. So, but I don't have any experience. I haven't done any internships.
So usually for people who are coming from any sort of different industry or different stream of IT, I would suggest you try to put some of your previous experience under DevOps and cloud. So that I was working as a DevOps engineer for a mobile application, or that's a good starting point. If you can't put that, then you have these projects that we are building, or you can build on your own time some of the projects and try to show that apart from the mobile application, you are also helping them in building the cloud infrastructure or CI/CD or the other apps that they had. So it's a mix of personal projects highlighted as experience. It could be smartly converting some of your projects, identifying some gaps that even though you are not doing DevOps or cloud related things there, but how you would do it. Understand that what gaps they have and try to fill that gap through a storytelling. That's a good thing. Like we all have done that kind of bit of faking.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
I will reshare on Slack the link to my video where I've shown how to prepare a good CV. I'll reshare it.
All right. Should we close it for today then?
Yeah, I think we're done with today. So if there are no more questions, we can just close it off.
I think all of the guys have covered it. We had limited people joining because being the first session, but yeah, hopefully people will join.
Yeah, thank you. We will come up with the next question next time with the more questions. Try
More
to
questions.
be,
Yeah.
Yes,
Let's
more
spend
questions.
a bit more time around. And please
Yeah.
be on
Yeah,
cameras. We'll try to stream it for other folks.
Yeah. Sorry for today, but next time, yeah, we'll
No
be on
worries.
camera. Yes.
No worries. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.